Maddie? Okay, we'll just have her sign it at the end. Well, I thank all of you for coming out on this nice evening that we haven't had any, and it's still going to be light, hopefully, when we leave here tonight, which will be awesome. So if you would, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Melissa, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Here.
Mr. Fazy?
Here.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Here.
Mrs. Gill?
Here.
Mrs. Clyde?
Here.
Mrs. Sherrick?
Make a motion, excuse me.
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Okay, in front of you on pages 1 through 4, we have the February 10th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 10th minutes.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick? Oops, sorry. Took a long time waiting on that.
Yeah.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
On pages 5 through 8, we have the bank reconciliation for January.
I'll make a motion to approve the January bank reconciliation.
I'll second.
Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
And on pages 9 through 10, the January 2025 vouchers.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
And on pages 11 through 14, you have the January gas and ERUs.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 January gas and ERUs.
Questions, discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh? Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Okay, Sheriff Cortez texted me earlier today, and he was going to be here. I'm just checking to see if I don't have any updates, so I guess he should know his way to home. So I'm not sure if something came up, so we'll just kind of hold off on that. Parks and Recs from February, you have a copy of that?
No.
No? She didn't get you one? Okay. So we will have to approve that next month. Mike, do you have P&P?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So, Chief's report, Jeremy was present and provided us the run summary to the board. He stated that January there were 19 runs, a few car accidents, and he had placed squad 153 in service during the bad weather to avoid accidents with the newer squad. Under new business, PEP insurance provider has met with the chief and has gone over the risk assessment. And Jeremy will be getting some more information on the current costs of the squad so we can increase our coverage over the current policy to meet our needs. So, that's it.
questions for Mike? Okay, fire department.
All right. So, Chief's report, Sam reported four runs with one mutual aid. New member Jason Abbott returned to the department, and Shad completed the fire course and will take certification tests soon. There was a resolution that declared the fire truck engine 112 as a surplus property and authorized bids for sale, and was unanimously approved.
Any questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike. Beth, you handed out your copies or finance?
Okay, yes, we met on Wednesday, February 19th. I'll just go down to, Melissa handed out the debt schedule to the committee. Committee also discussed how to handle chief of police overtime. Committee will be recommending to council that the chief of police wages would be hourly rather than salary due to the amount of OT. The chief accumulates over the calendar year, and the mayor will let committee know the chief's OT hours on a quarterly basis. Committee also discussed wage increase for all employees. Committee will be recommending to council a 5% salary increase for the 2025 year to all employees, full-time and seasonal. And then Sarah suggested working on a wage plan for the upcoming years. It was recommended the wage increase start effective March 10th. Brought to my attention, we have it in our policy book to start at the beginning of the year, correct? Okay. So I may have to amend that as well in the ordinance. I'm not sure if it's in the ordinance or not. Committee also discussed employee health insurance. It was recommended looking into getting quotes in hopes to reduce health insurance rates for the upcoming year. Currently, our health insurance rates are grandfathered in, and renewal date is August 1st. So we'll be looking into that. Let's see, we also discussed the fiscal officer position that will be vacant at the end of June. This committee discussed where to advertise and what to put in the description to find a candidate, and salary will be based on experience. And that's it.
Is there a motion then to approve the finance
I'll make
minutes?
the motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Any discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Vacy.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
And then we'll need to have a motion to place the chief of police on an hourly versus salary.
I'll make a motion to put the police chief on an hourly rate instead of a salary.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is that first of the year?
Mhm.
Yep.
How OT be handled, just at a time and a half, right? And then,
She'll just get paid out as she accumulates it instead of accumulating it.
Instead of accumulating it over the whole year.
Yep.
Mr. Brumbaugh.
yes,
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
Mr. Vacy.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will jump back up to our visitors. Sheriff Cortez, I had you at the top.
Oh, boy.
Now, we know you
I sat in the
couldn't-
back row for a reason.
I know. Well, I did make the comment, maybe he couldn't find his way to Macomb. Ha ha. We know that you've been very busy since you took over, and I think you have road conditions mastered for this year so far. So, hopefully, that's behind you, right?
Right, right. You know, I was at a all sheriff's conference a couple weeks ago, and I was talking with some of the other sheriffs across the state, and they said a lot of them, I would say probably 25% of them that I talked to, they don't issue any levels except for level 3.
Really?
Yeah, they said we don't mess with the level 1 or level 2, and they said, welcome to Ohio. This is what we have all been part of. But yeah, so hopefully the last snow and ice storms and whatnot is behind us, and we can we can all move on into the happy seasons of, of our life of 2025, so. But I just wanted to come up and first say hi and let you guys know that I'm looking at revamping the contract so that all of our contracts that we have will go from January to January. So with that, we are dropping our rate down to $45 an hour, and then it will go from our annual percentage raises for the cost of the deputies for the union contract. And so I'm asking that the council put that to a vote. Doesn't have to be tonight or anything like that, but put that on your agenda to consider. And we can, once you guys give the affirmative or negative, we'll get that new contract over to you accordingly, so.
I know that the increases started in January this year, correct, Melissa?
Yeah, but I don't
No,
know,
the contract, our actual contract, is that in August?
seems like it was in the middle of the year at some point, you know.
So we can look at that.
Yeah, and I'm just I'm trying to get everybody on the same page, so we could do, rather than chasing down contracts, you know, intermittently throughout the whole year for all of them that we have, just, if we could do one batch at one time and try to put it back in order.
How many villages are you guys contracted with them?
So we have, we have Van Buren, we have you guys, we have Van Loo, we have Genera, and we have the park districts, so.
Arlington? No?
No, we don't have Arlington anymore.
Okay.
So.
And do you foresee any changes with the deputies and how they currently do things when
Well,
they are on contract time?
So,
I'll be real honest with you. Okay,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
we had 20 hours. We saw a lot of just time being stationary, I guess,
Okay.
would be the thing. We had community complaints. I know that Mark talked to one, and there was another gentleman, and it got a little better, and then it kind of just went right back down. So council decided the end of June, it was the end of June, I went back and double checked, that they were going to reduce that to 10 hours a week. So I'm just asking.
All right, so let me ask this then, are there specific problems that you need us to address? So is there an influx of property damage, is there an influx of thefts, is there an influx of crashes? Is there something that we could be focusing our attention on that would satisfy the needs of the village?
You guys speak
I
up.
would say the
Basically,
reckless driving in the
yeah,
morning.
the speeding,
This-
yeah, the
I
reckless
think
driving.
Traffic.
Everything coming out of the
Running
cookie
stop
factory in
signs,
the
stop.
morning, down there at that stop, that four-way stop, heading west to east coming downtown. I see cars coming downtown. And my wife has had this incident too, coming down through town, and all of a sudden some car flies by her. And
They run all the stop signs.
run the stop signs over
If you're
Garden
not,
Street, yeah.
if you're not sitting, if I'm not sitting there, they go. I have people calling all the time.
So there's like certain hours, I would say, we probably need to look at, I think we need to look at different areas for certain hours for patrol, you know, to look at the patrol and say, hey, you know, we need to keep an eye on this area around this time, because, you know, when the cookie
So-
factory lets out off shift at night and then also in the morning, you know.
So as a first step, what I would recommend is we could do a traffic study. And what that does, it measures the number of vehicles
Yep.
on a
Yep.
given road.
Yep.
It gives times, it gives dates, it
Yep.
gives the high speed, the
Fully.
low speed,
Yep.
you know, and so on and so forth. That way we can better focus our attention, and we're not just wasting our time
Right.
sitting in one location where it's just a few people that said, oh, I saw someone speeding, or oh, I saw someone on a stop sign, something like that. We
Right.
can actually, you know, be productive in what we do and how we address that, so.
And I think that
That database policing is what I'm
was
suggesting.
also one of our concerns, was just to be seen and patrolling and not really sitting, you know. And I understand there's gonna be times where they're not on contract time,
Mhm.
you know. But I guess the biggest thing is, you know, like, where they were sitting at one time, they were sitting up on the reservoir, on number 2
I actually
reservoir.
just saw that yesterday.
Okay,
Clear in the back, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
You can't do.
you know, and I understand if they're on contract time, but if they actually set, you know, like in front of the park and they were angled where they could ticket somebody
Right.
and radar them, you know, I don't think anybody would balk at that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yesterday they were sitting on top of the reservoir. I think
Yeah.
it was yesterday on top of the reservoir.
Yeah.
I mean, I get you have paperwork or maybe it's your downtime. I know we don't know
Yeah.
all of it, but
Yeah.
I get it. But
Yeah.
it just isn't a.
Well,
after all
It's
this
just,
that we've-
it's just the,
That could be done when you're being safe though.
yes,
Yes.
And-
correct,
You can sit in front of the park and
Right,
get people to slow
right.
down.
You can still do your
Yes.
paperwork
right.
Yeah.
there, so.
And it's just perception, right?
Yeah, right.
And that's what we end up having, you know, with the, you know, the people from the village. I mean, there are complaints of them going out, you know, the south side of town there on 186, you know, heading out that way, just blowing back down through their, you know, through Dollar General there.
Okay.
I mean, and I totally agree with you with the traffic stuff.
Sure.
Oliver sounds like a racetrack, it should change.
Yep, it is, yep. And because they come down that back way off of Maple Street and come around and hit Oliver and shoot down and they'll, you know, they'll head out that way or head out, you know, this way or hit 613, right?
So are we doing double service? Meaning, are we having a contract deputy here during the day when Tammy's here as well?
No, I stopped that.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a while, I had them
Okay.
go ahead and continue because I was trying to get through some paperwork
Oh,
and
I get it.
different things.
I get it.
But I'm still not through, but I had them stop
Okay.
doing that.
All right.
Yeah,
I just
and that was
wanted-
one of the other things we looked at, right?
Okay. All right. Yep. Yeah,
Just
we
kind
can-
of utilize the time a little bit.
Yep. I'll just touch base with you later on where we're gonna set that up at, or where your recommendation is to set that up first, and we could put it in multiple locations, you know, so we could do it like a week at a time, or we could do it just for a couple days, however you feel it'll best produce the results that we're looking for, to give us an idea.
I just think if they keep moving, because they're not here very long,
Mhm.
Right.
if they just move around town, just to make
Yeah.
themselves known.
That way
instead
someone's
of-
not saying, well, they're always sitting right there all the
Yeah,
time.
instead
So
of
I'm down
go
here
around.
Well,
like-
you got some people be like, oh, I know he's parked over here, so I misbehave over here.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just,
and that could be on any circumstance.
oh, yeah.
If they see them driving around down by the school,
Oh, yeah.
they could do the same thing on
Yep,
the north side.
exactly.
But I understand your point of wanting them to be mobile and be more visible to more people, rather than just one
Yep.
isolated location.
It's all perception.
That's-
And when they're not on contract time, do you have an idea of how many times they might be coming through town, or what are you running? Are you running 4 or north-south, or
It
how's
depends.
Okay, okay.
It really does.
Okay.
So right now, we have 2 deputies off on injured reserve. And for 16 out of 16, that's just for patrol stuff. And so we do have fewer deputies. That means fewer road coverage.
Right.
And I mean, I know you guys have heard the same story time and time again. You know, 534 square miles, and at minimum, we're running 3 deputies.
Okay.
So, at minimum, we have what we call an east unit, a west unit, and a south unit.
Okay.
And so, sometimes you could be working east and be assigned east and work everywhere that day but east.
Right.
So it just depends on the activity. So, we're here in the next, we got, the one guy should be coming back, I'm gonna say within the next 8 weeks. He fell 14 feet and fractured his leg and, through a second-story balcony, so, he's on light duty right now for obvious reasons, but, my guess is 2 months he'll be back, and, the other one should be back here shortly, so. He gets back.
Your academy program that you have some more coming up through that?
So right now we have, all of our spots filled, so we
Awesome.
don't, right, right, so, we don't have, anybody in the cadet program,
Okay.
if that's what you're referring to.
Mhm.
So we don't have anybody lined up for that. And that was designed for an as-need basis, so I plan on continuing that program as long as there's a need for it. And hopefully that we can make enough positive, good changes that people will wanna stay and not leave, so.
Well, if you have somebody in line that's waiting for one of your jobs and you wanna give them a little bit of time, we're hoping that someday you are flooded with resumes and
Yeah.
people, and then they go back to work in these little towns to build up
Yeah.
again.
In the bad part, for villages, is that law enforcement work now really is so open, and like they're just waiting for their opportunity for their dream job, right?
Mhm.
They can go to the big cities, and they know they don't have to start in a small town. But the one thing I will recommend for you guys, if you don't already do it, is use the Office of Recruitment through the Ohio Department of Public Safety. We just signed up, we just had a meeting with them last week, and we're going to build a resource page on their site, and everything's 100% free. Like, they give you a template, you fill in the blanks, and they build essentially your web page for you through the Ohio Department of Public Safety. If you have vacant positions, you can post your vacant positions through there. So if someone is searching for a law enforcement job, they go to the Office of Recruitment's website and they click on Hancock County, they click on law enforcement, and it pops up all available jobs. And so then, if you have a resource page, or essentially your website is basically a shortened version of your website, they could take a look at who you are and what you're about and what opportunities are available for them, and so we're gonna do it.
Sounds like good for you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I can connect you with those people if you're interested,
Yeah.
so.
Well, what other things do you have in the works?
So right now, we're in the research phase of our body worn camera program, and we have another demo coming up here in the next couple weeks. And so that will be in our phase 2, and we're looking at a grant for that. So we're looking at hopefully by mid-2026 or to the end of 2026, hopefully we'll be able to do that and get that completed. Today we took down our K-9 officers posting, so hopefully we'll be able to make a selection, and that's gonna be a process, because we need to get a dog, we need to find training, we need to get equipment for our car and whatnot. So we're hoping by the end of this year, we'll be able to fill that role, at least one of them. And so I've been going around meeting with some schools and trying to identify the core needs of the students, and coming up with a database type form to identify what students are experiencing or what we're experiencing with the students, whether it be some type of abuse situation at home, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, whatever. And that way we can take a look at the specific school district and say, you know, males, females, age groups, and we can break it down. So that way we can say, hey, Macomb needs some resources or assistance or counseling or whatever in this particular area. And then we can work with the schools and our community resources to ensure that the students are getting the programming and resources that they need. You know, because the ultimate goal is for the students to be as successful as possible. So, outside of that, that's enough right now. But there's a lot of things, moving parts, and a lot of things going on. So we're actively looking for a lieutenant of our enforcement division, and so that's, you know, I understand the struggle of finding somebody. So we're going through that process now. But other than that, that's where we're at.
Any other?
I do have a question. If you're not a contracted village, how many hours do you guys spend in that area? Is that, maybe that's not a fair question. I just don't understand.
It's not anything we can necessarily measure.
Okay.
You know, all of our deputies are told
Just
that
easy.
in their assigned areas that we like them to hit every township and every village at least once
Okay.
in their shift.
Okay.
Now, how much time they choose to spend in that given area is all up to them.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know how that side of it worked.
yeah.
Until it comes over the radio, they're needed at this other thing.
Right.
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 certainly appreciate you coming
Yeah,
out tonight.
yep.
Keep in contact.
Okay, yeah, and just let me know on the contract if you guys are willing to do that.
Yeah, well, I don't
Um,
see any reason why, just changing the date, basically.
Yeah, changing the date and you're saving a couple dollars an hour,
Okay.
so.
And you're still doing, you said it was 45, is that what you said?
They're dropping it to 45.
They're dropping it to 45.
Yeah, we're dropping it to
Because right
45.
now it's 47, 41, I
Right.
believe. Okay.
The new sheriff special deal, I guess.
I was gonna say, is that the blue light
The
special?
blue light special.
Red and blue light
Right.
special,
Right.
all right.
Right. So, but, I'll shoot you an email tomorrow and ask about those locations and times, and I'll make arrangements with it. Cause it's our engineer's office that has that traffic, counter.
And we're still working on Tyler, getting closer.
Getting closer?
Got an email tonight, they wanna have a video chat welcoming and try to set up some, so.
Yeah, good. So have you got it installed at all yet, or no?
No, I have stuff in the car ready to go for when they
Okay,
hook in, but that's it so far.
okay. Yeah, it's good old Tyler.
It's slow process.
It'll get there.
Yeah, it will, eventually. It took us about 3 years to build our e-citation program, so,
Okay.
and I say that with a smile. 'Cause I helped build that, and so, but, all right, anything else?
Thank you.
All right, enjoy the next weather.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, since we bounced back up to visitors, Karen, Monday Buffet.
After looking at, your board up there where it says planning and zoning on March the 19th, and I really have, a zoning issue, I guess, so I don't even know if I'm at the right meeting tonight.
Well, you're here. You're here, so let's hear what you got.
Yeah, this is fine,
Um,
because anything from planning and zoning comes back to full
Comes through the
council.
council anyway.
So,
I don't know how much of the zoning you all get, but the village was nice enough to provide me with one, and going through it, I found a paragraph on nuisance, noise, indoor batting cage. I don't know who in this place, in this room, would choose to live next to one, but one has gone in next door to me, and I am not happy at all. I don't upset my neighbors. The last time I was here was talking about setting the block on fire, and you guys stopped that. You can hear the batting going on all the time. Sundays, 7:30 at night, no place else is open on Main Street. There's a paragraph in here. Everybody's got a copy of this somewhere. I got it here at the village. Talks about nuisance, noise nuisance. Well, an indoor batting cage is a 10. That's my complaint. I would wish that you would talk about it and think about it. Almost all of the second floor in the business district belongs to the people who live there. There's one business on the second floor, and it happens to be an indoor batting cage. None of you would want your mom or your grandma, your best friend, your daughter, your sister, your great-grandma to live beside it. But I have to, and I am not happy. I hope that somebody talks about it. And should I really be going to planning and zoning on March the 19th and give them the same speech, because it will be the same
Well, all of planning and zoning is, well, no, we have some people from the community that are in it. You're more than welcome to come that evening if you would like to, Sharon.
Do we know what the current business
Yeah,
hours are?
the book's called Planning and Zoning. I mean, it belongs to the village, it belongs to everybody.
Do we know what business hours are up there at this point?
Anytime someone makes an appointment. So it could be Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, or it could be Tuesday night at 9 o'clock.
Leah, you are the owner?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
runs that?
My husband and I are.
Okay.
Yeah, so our Sunday hours are from 2 to 6, but from 6:30 to 8:30 approximately, we do Bible study in there. So when the kids come in for Bible study, we do our Bible study, and then they get like 30 to 45 minutes to be able to use the facility at no cost. So we're giving back to the community. Anytime during the week, we're done by 8 o'clock every single night. We're out of there at the latest by 8:30. Now come summertime, we probably will be open till 9, but we're not going to go past 9 o'clock. Kids probably won't come out after that. So, but on Sundays, it's from 2 until 6. Monday through Friday right now, we're not even open. Like, we didn't even open today until 5 o'clock. And so we're open from like 5 to 9 tonight. Only because my husband's coaching for Columbus Grove. I drive for Elmwood, so I don't get out of my route until 4:30. So for right now, we're not even open all day. So it's a very short amount of time, and we're not open past 9 o'clock at any point in time, ever. So usually by 7 o'clock, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, we closed up. We were out. No one was coming by. When the weather was bad, we were out. Like we close up. So.
Do you have any other questions, Sharon?
No, I guess you pretty much heard it all.
Sharon, do you have the exact page, number, ordinance, whatever you have that
Yeah,
you're
you're
referencing
referencing,
there?
yes.
I have,
Mr. Freddie.
I have.
Okay.
178.116. Oops, wait, that's the old one. 178.180.
180, yeah.
Yeah, 180.
Is that in reference to a business district, because didn't we rezone that to a business district versus residential?
This is a C3 district.
Okay.
This is a business district.
Yeah.
This may be a C3 district, but there is something that has a checkmate for the property owners, and it's in here. There is a checkmate built into it.
I'm not trying to cause an argument, I'm trying to understand all of the information.
Well, I think I've said enough to make everybody mad.
Oh.
I'm going back over there, and thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Are our hours outside of the scope of the ordinance for the noise?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Go
this
ahead,
is-
take it on.
I mean,
This is our service center.
Yeah.
This is a C3 downtown business district. This came to my attention through Greg. I mean, even the C3 downtown business district language says that it is designed to distinguish areas unique from all other business areas in the village. It continues on, it is the most open zoning district without other than zoning districts, the other zoning districts do not permit. And there's a long list of things here. One of them can be a bar, tavern, or nightclub till 2:30 a.m., whatever liquor license they possess. This is a residential thing. Greg said she's been there since the 80s. She took herself and her family to a business district to live. What's unique is the residence part, not the business part. This is a village. I live here. I don't have a dog in the fight. But if you want businesses to come in, you got a residence living in a business district, it's going to raise noise issues. I don't know what you're going to do. The conditional use for her is listed as residential use. She's a conditional use. Now, I don't know what the zoning was in 1980s, but she's still conditional use. If anybody else wanted to go in there, they'd have to come to planning and zoning and ask to be an exception to not be in the business. and I'm sure it's probably the same way in the 1980s, whatever year she came in. She's unique to that area, not the business being unique to her. So I would advise council to do anything about it. The nuisance section that she's referencing is a very general nuisance section that first starts out that no land or building or structure in any district shall be used or occupied in any manner in violation of the use district to which it's located. They're not. It can be a bar till 2:30 a.m. or later. I mean, they have stuff that says it can't be unsightly, hazardous, noxious, unhealthy, noisy. I get that. That's an ordinance in every city and every village. But I'd just leave it at that. You would have a tough fight if this council restricted the business versus the resident, and the business fought it in a court of law, which they have the right to do. I can tell you who I picked to probably win by common police court. I guarantee it, because you're not going to put a restriction on business operations. I'm sorry.
No,
And it's a tough answer for her, because I know that she dealt with this open burning thing years ago when I first started.
Then she dealt with Mr. Rubio.
So
it's just a matter of like trying to understand, because I'm with it's a business district. The business should be allowed to do what they like. I understand the frustration, but I just want us to know all of our information so we can come to her with as soft of a blow as we can and as nice a way as we can.
I wrote her a letter on the open burning thing, and that kind of put a lot of it to rest a long time ago. I don't know how. I guess sometime between 2000. Well, she's got all kinds of other remedies.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'd be successful.
You
She's
gave
got
her
a chance,
all
you know.
sorts of stuff.
But I can write her a letter explaining what I just kind of did. And I would hope that she would have stuck around a little bit, but I can write her a letter that says, basically, because I prepared for this, I knew it was coming, and I could write a letter indicating, you know, that my opinion is, not my opinion is, and the council doesn't do anything, my opinion is, she's in a pickle.
I would have you put that together, that way we have documentation.
Yeah,
I did it for the
have
open
told
burning.
her.
She has.
I have told her that it's a business district, and this is, and I've explained to her, this could be a bar.
I mean,
You
yeah, I
understand
mean-
that.
It could be an
Music
all
shop.
24-hour fitness center.
Yeah,
That's
run
like
lessons.
Clank.
A music club?
Oh, we have music, I could incorporate that.
I wanted to
But we
drown out the
don't,
balls.
we don't, I mean, we do try to, you know, we do try to limit, you know, but the boys can hook their phones up to these big speakers that we have, and, you know, but we don't encourage it, we don't, you know, bring it up unless they ask, but it's not 24/7, it's not, you know, we don't want to upset her, you know, but at the same time, we're not going all night long, and it's just tink,
I think
every
she-
so often that she probably
She chose
hears.
to live there because she bought that building.
Yeah.
That section of the building.
I believe
because
her
she
husband
wanted-
lives in Fostoria.
She wanted that lower unit, you know, for Shane's
Shane.
Memorial.
Have you gotten any other complaints from any, I don't know how many other people live in that building. Have you heard?
The other renters on down,
Yeah.
because Jim Smith owns those.
Above okay, so there's more further down, but she's sharing a wall.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. And, you know, and she's making a statement, she parks right in front of our,
I saw that
the first
tonight.
spot, she's been parked there, and we're like,
That's different.
okay.
And
She's
because-
never done that before.
No, she's
Uh,
never done
Right.
it before, it's always been that second or that third spot.
Yeah, in front of her
She's ne-
place.
Yes,
Yeah.
right in front of her place.
Yep, I
So-
saw that too.
We just let her go, we're just like, okay, you know, but it is what it is, you know, I just wanna make sure that we're not, you know, doing something outside of the scope, so.
And from what I've heard, I'd say you're not, you're fine.
They're not doing anything
When,
wrong.
when I talked to her, I told her she was not gonna like my interpretation of the code, so that's when I reached out to Rob. I said, he's a lawyer, he reads that thing better, you know, it's like a lawyer, he reads the thing anyhow. But I'm like, we'll get his opinion. And so she said, okay. And I think she knows, that's why she left, because she knows what the opinion's gonna be. So I think if Rob does write the letter, we send it to her, and we'll take that copy and have it at planning and zoning, share it with her again, and, you know, we can't, she lives in a business district,
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do.
And welcome to Macomb.
Thank you. Sorry to cause such a ruckus.
You're such a problem.
This
I
is
know,
the
it's
small
me,
town.
I'm the problem, yeah.
The small town vibes.
It's okay. I mean, we've had a
Let's hurry up
good.
with the iced coffee though, please.
Yeah, well, I know, I gotta get my retail food license, I guess, so.
Yeah, let's hurry up with that.
I know.
I was really enjoying that.
Well, thank you. If you do have any questions, always come over.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you're the mayor, is that correct?
I am.
Okay, my husband does need to make an appointment with you, so that way he wants to try to run some tournaments out of the recreational fields, and so he needs to get with you.
You can check with Greg.
Okay. Do you have a business card or anything with you that I could give to him?
Now, you should have been here at the
I
meeting
know,
before.
I was just right before you.
Oh, yeah, probably.
We were just talking about the fields.
Yeah, we're
Right.
hoping to at least do maybe 4 tournaments this, through the summer months, just to help bring some traffic here and stuff like that as well, and, they'll just be like, entry level baseball tournaments for local new teams and stuff like that, so.
They had, Uncle Charlie's was out here some last year, but we haven't heard back from that one, so.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Gotta write a different number on here, we changed numbers.
Do we have any old business? Under new business, we are going to donate a pass to the Athletic Boosters Reverse Raffle, so we would need a motion, an official motion, please.
I'll make a motion to donate
There you
full
go.
pass, for family full
Thank
pass
you.
to the
And
athletic
so
boosters.
are you
I'll second.
like the Parks and Rec baseball and softball?
Any questions,
Yes.
discussion?
Goes through the committee. You gotta see the committee, yeah.
Okay, cause
Mr.
we're
Bumble?
also
Yes.
offering
Thank you.
special rates for your guys' baseball and
Mike,
softball
Mike,
program for
say
the
yes.
summer.
Say
yes.
So,
Mrs. Gill?
I'll have
Yes.
him call you, I'll have my husband call you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde? Yes.
That was for the pool pass that we're donating.
I was gonna motion to that.
Thank you. Any other new business for this evening? Okay. Mike, while the meds haven't totally kicked in yet, we'll go with you first.
No, I don't have anything wrong with me.
Jamie?
No, no, we've got anything.
Kylie?
Zoning meeting Wednesday, next Wednesday.
I've got nothing to say.
Sarah? Beth?
I know we talked about it at our last finance committee meeting, we're not going to have one before this March, so we'll look into April.
And Mike,
Did you
sorry
guys have a
about,
Parks and Rec tonight?
Yes, we did.
Before?
Yeah.
sorry about your mother, Mike, and
Yeah.
your surgery has gone well, and you'll be back out and about again.
Yeah, it's going good.
Good.
Therapy's going well.
Good.
She was ready to go, I mean, it was, I'm just gonna say one thing, I reached out to a lot of different places for hospice, home health care,
Okay.
and I ran into some very hard brick walls,
Really?
and I will honestly tell you, the last place I called was Ohio Living in the hospice, and they were a blessing, and they were more than welcome to help out. So I'll just leave it at that, it'll be
Well, I'm
nice.
glad you found a good one.
Yeah, because, I mean, they were to help to make things, help make things smoothly, go smoothly, so. She went peacefully.
We're never ready, no matter when. Maddie, do you have anything for the student committee?
Not too much,
Okay.
but, we were supposed to have flyers printed out, and I'm not around the school for very often, and I was the only one who's coming to the meeting tonight. And so at the very end of the day, we were going to print them off. I didn't know what printer they were at, and I had to catch my bus to go home.
If you could have someone at least drop them off up to Haiti.
And I was talking to Mrs. Teagren because I ran upstairs to try and see if they were up at that printer. They were not. And she said that she would drop them off, and I'm not positive if she did. But if she has, I will get back to you on that.
Okay.
And then Christian wanted me to ask.
He emailed me.
Yeah.
Am I committing it? Yes. I just wanted to get back with them, yeah, about that, and I said, yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna covering their,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna cover it, so it doesn't cost anything for you guys to do.
And that's
here.
back in here, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are you accepting good clothing donations, or how are you gonna work that?
I think he mentioned pre-owned, they're gonna be washed pre-owned clothes.
Okay.
Right. So.
And he also mentioned vegetables on his.
I'm planning
email.
on making an Amherst run for vegetables.
Perfect, okay. Then,
And
yeah,
maybe
so I will
a
put that
couple
in the
flowers,
flyer.
we haven't discussed
Yeah.
that.
My father's excited about vegetables.
Vegetables, yeah. Okay, perfect.
I'll have to inform my grandpa. He's got a little garden in his backyard. So.
So is the community allowed to donate clothing to you, and when's the deadline for them to turn in clothing?
I honestly do not have that information.
Cause I have some
Yeah,
clothes
I
that.
could do, yeah, I could do that, yeah.
So we need those answers.
Yep.
And we probably should.
Maybe
start-
be selective on who donates.
Yeah. So you don't get overloaded with a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff.
And then at the end, just take them to either Goodwill,
Or the clothing.
clothing box, or what's the one that gives you the write-off? But you guys don't need that.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, good one, those.
I will do my best to get my hands on that information.
Okay, thank you. And Maddie, if you want to sign this too, since
Yep.
you were held up by the train.
Thank you for coming.
Under legislative, then Melissa, you want to take over?
Do you want to say your piece first before I read it?
Can I ask to amend the first one,
Is it a first reading?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and then whatever the amendment is, if the amendment's accepted by a vote, then it would be corrected in the word processing for the next one.
In the Park and Recs meeting, I told the committee that I do have an assistant manager, for the pool. She ran the Lipstick pool last year. She does work at the Y in Ottawa. She agreed to be, if I can match her wage rate of $17, because that's what she makes now at the Y, to be the assistant manager. And if Randy, for some reason, something happens and he chooses not, right now he says he'll do the pool manager, but in case something happens with his job, she could move into the manager position. So I didn't know if it's acceptable to change the 16 to 17.
Well, this is kind of where my suggestion for doing as many kind of ranges, even if it's a small range. So maybe we change it to a 16 to 17 per hour based on experience or something like that. And then obviously we could, in that situation.
And just make sure she hits it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could go 15 to 17.
Yeah, 15 to 17.
That
way
would give you a little bit better range. Because she's really qualified to be at the manager's position, so that's, at this point, that's the highest point.
Yeah, I wouldn't give a first time ever assistant manager $17 an hour, but.
No,
No, we don't need to amend 2025-03.
You said we don't need to amend the 20.
No. You've got language in there that says that you guys can make adjustments
As a
on the fly.
discretion.
Council may at its discretion provide for a higher pay scale level for each position listed.
Oh, yeah.
So, you could ask for somebody to make a motion to make that 16 to 17 or whatever, and be done with it for that particular person. Other than that, then this ordinance stays the same.
So
So do we wanna do just person, or do we wanna change it to just in general 15 to 17 for any assistant pool manager going forward?
If you do that, then you're gonna amend them,
Yeah, amend the whole
which is just fine.
Right, just leave it at
Well, I think right now we
that.
can just
We'll
do-
change it, yeah.
I
Do the
I
one.
just wanted to run it by you guys, I didn't wanna say to her,
Right.
yeah, I'll give you that, and then
Right.
you guys say, hey, now, we said,
Greg's paying the rest.
Yeah, I would agree that we just keep the ordinance the same, and then just do this temporarily for now, and then next time, for next year, we look at
oh, range.
a range
Yeah.
window.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we need them to vote in there.
So a motion for that particular person.
What's her?
Brooklyn Downey.
Brooke Downey. I'll make a motion for Brooklyn Downey to be paid up to $17 an hour as an assistant pool manager.
Second.
We'll also get, swim lessons going with her, because she taught that at the Y. She's certified to do that.
You want to call the roll?
Mr. Brumbault?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
All right, now I gotta match up my. Okay, this is the first reading of ordinance 2025-03, an ordinance establishing positions, wages, and fees for the swimming pool staff for the 2025 pool season effective April 1st, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
I think you could suspend the rules.
Yeah, I make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 2025-03.
I'll second that.
Mr. Brumbault?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Second and third reading of ordinance 2025-03.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-03.
Second.
Mr. Brumbault?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 2025-04, an ordinance authorizing the village council of the village of Macomb for proper representative to execute the Macomb Union Cemetery agreement and declaring an emergency.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for code 2025-04.
I'll second that.
Second and third reading of ordinance 2025-04.
Motion to approve ordinance code 2025-04.
I'll second that.
Mr. Brumbault?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
The next ordinance doesn't need approved tonight. It's ordinance 2025-05, an ordinance to make permanent appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the village of Macomb, state of Ohio during fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
Did you say it needs to be suspended or doesn't?
Yeah, it does need to be, but it needs to be approved tonight.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 2025-05.
Second that.
Mr. Brumbault?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Second and third reading of ordinance 2025-05.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-05.
Second.
Mr. Brumbault?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 2025-06, an ordinance establishing pay increases to the wages, salaries of certain village employees of the village of Macomb, Ohio, effective as stated in the attached Exhibit A, and declaring an emergency.
I'll I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 2025-06. With the of, correct, is on the ordinance, is it on the ordinance or just?
Oh, it's just on the front page, I think.
Second that.
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Second and third reading of ordinance 2025-06.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-06.
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
And then this one, since it's the third reading, do I have to do roll call? Because I always get that messed up.
Well, you can do roll call later if you want to.
Is it's a done deal, right?
There's a motion to, this is the third,
Yeah, third reading.
2025-01.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you still, if you're taking a roll call vote on everything, we'll just keep going.
Okay. This is the third reading of ordinance 2025-01, an ordinance enacting regulations on homeless camps and public sleeping and declaring an emergency.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second?
Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Rob, is that effective in 30 days, or is that effective now?
30 days.
Well, did you do a roll call on code 4 for the suspension? Did you?
I did.
I wrote that down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm losing it here, but maybe.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Okay, first and second.
The
Mrs.
first
Gill,
and
Mrs.
second, and
Clyde.
then, okay.
Yeah, it's suspended.
You want me to do one? Make it proper?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, for ordinance 2025-04, Mr. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
And you have pages 33 to 56. Any questions for Melissa? Did you have anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, I received a bill from the city of Findlay for our income tax, and it's kind of like, what is this? There's no explanation, just says one at $14,337.76 for 2024. So I got ahold of Mary Price, and she explained to me that they take the annual expenses of the department and then give everybody, every village, they take care of a percentage. So we ended up owing 2.53% of the $566,000 cost for the income tax office. So it was $14,337.76 for 2024.
And then what else are,
What do we pay them? What's
we
their
didn't
contract?
pay all, we weren't with them all of 24.
No, that's true.
Because I don't think we joined till
March.
March.
Let me ask her about that.
And
If it's
then,
prorated.
okay, and
Yeah.
what else
And
are
we,
we gonna have expenses in?
1% of our total collection for
Okay.
2024, which, let's see, I think it was around 7 something.
Okay. So it's just those two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So 21, 22 thousand,
Okay.
so just about what we were paying Mr. Fox.
For some reason I thought you had more.
Our collection is 710,000?
Well, they didn't start till
Oh.
the end of March,
Okay.
so we had some in there,
Before that?
yeah,
Are you pre-collected yet?
that we're, going back and forth with.
Okay.